Did you know that Walt Disney went from living in a tent to creating the magical world of Disney? Hello everyone. Today, we're diving into an extraordinary story about a man who was once called a failure, lost everything, but through boundless imagination and unshakable perseverance, he built an entertainment empire that is loved worldwide. His name is Walt Disney. Before Mickey Mouse danced across screens or Disneyland became every child's dream, Walt Disney had to go through many struggles. His journey was not easy. He faced roadblocks at every turn, where failure wasn't just a single downfall, but a series of challenges. This is the story of a man who turned the dreams inside his head into something real that brought joy to the world. Walt Disney was born on December 5, 1901, in Chicago, Illinois, to a large family that didn't have much. His father, Elias, worked hard but often had to move around to find steady work. Meanwhile, his mother, Flora, spent her time taking care of Walt and his four siblings. Walt's childhood wasn't filled with luxury or lavish toys. He grew up on a farm in Marceline, Missouri, where he had to wake up early every day to deliver newspapers in order to help support his family. But even on those exhausting mornings, Walt found joy in drawing. He would sketch on anything he could find: wrapping paper, barn walls, and even scraps of old newspapers. Walt once said, "I didn't have toys, but I had stories in my head, and I wanted to share them with the world." When he was 16, the outbreak of World War I changed his life. Walt left school to join the Red Cross and served as an ambulance driver in France. After returning to the United States in 1919, Walt decided to follow his dream of becoming an animator. He moved to Kansas City and started working at a small advertising company where he learned how to create short films. But Walt wasn't content with just creating art for others. He wanted to make something of his own, something that could make people smile. He dreamed of creating animated films that could be enjoyed by audiences everywhere. However, his first big setback came in 1921 when he was only 20 years old. Walt started a company called Laugh-O-Gram Studio in Kansas City, using money borrowed from family and friends. He hired a group of animators and set up a small team to work on short films. The studio's early days were filled with energy and hope, but things quickly went downhill. The company faced serious financial issues. Clients failed to pay on time, production costs were too high, and Walt couldn't afford to pay his animators. He was forced to live in the studio, sleeping on the couch, eating only dry bread to get by. Finally, in 1923, Laugh-O-Gram went bankrupt. Walt lost everything: his money, his company, and the faith of those who had supported him. He once recalled, "I stood in the ruins of my dream, not knowing where to go next." But Walt didn't let that failure crush his spirit. With just $40 left in his pocket, he bought a one-way train ticket to Hollywood, carrying only a torn suitcase and a burning determination to succeed. He told his brother Roy, "If I don't succeed here, I don't know where else I can go." In Hollywood, Walt and Roy started Disney Brothers Studio in a small garage. They created a character named Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, an animated rabbit who was cheerful and charming. They signed a contract with a major distributor, and at first, the studio's success seemed like a bright glimmer of hope, but that happiness didn't last long. In 1928, Walt encountered his second major setback. He discovered that his distributor had secretly hired away his entire animation team and kept the rights to Oswald. Walt had been cut out of his own creation. He lost Oswald, his team, and was on the verge of losing his studio as well. Walt later said, "I felt like I had been robbed. I was standing in Hollywood with nothing." As he sat on a train from New York to California, his mind was heavy with the weight of his situation. He wasn't sure where to turn next, but it was during that train ride that an idea sparked in his mind. Walt took out a pencil and sketched a small mouse with round ears and a mischievous smile. He named it Mickey Mouse. When Walt returned to Hollywood, he was determined to bring Mickey to life. He and Roy worked tirelessly to perfect the character and the films. But things didn't get easier. The first two Mickey films were silent, a huge disadvantage when sound films were starting to take over. Distributors rejected the films, saying that Mickey had no chance of competing. Walt was on the brink of giving up, but he refused to let go of his dream. He put all of his remaining money and energy into creating a third film, Steamboat Willie, this time with sound. Walt even provided the voice for Mickey himself, creating the first ever voice for the character. He said, "If Mickey fails, I fail. This is my last chance." The breakthrough came on November 18, 1928, when Steamboat Willie premiered at the Colony Theater in New York. The audience erupted into laughter and applause, and Mickey Mouse became an instant sensation. From that moment on, Disney Brothers Studio, later renamed the Walt Disney Company, began to grow and thrive. Walt's creative journey continued, leading to the creation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937. This was the world's first full-length animated feature, and before it was released, many critics called it a crazy disaster. But Snow White was a massive success, bringing in millions of dollars and ushering in the golden age of animation. Walt's ambition didn't stop with movies. He dreamed of creating a place where families could come together to have fun and create lasting memories. In 1955, Disneyland opened in California, despite many people mocking the idea, saying it would fail. From a man who had once lived in a tent, Walt Disney became a giant in the entertainment industry, building a multi-billion-dollar empire with beloved characters like Donald Duck, Goofy, and a host of other timeless films. Walt's company expanded beyond animation to television, theme parks, and global entertainment, influencing generations of fans and innovators. He once said, "All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them." Walt Disney's story is one of transforming even the most difficult moments into something magical. From a young man who lost everything, Walt used only his pencil and his unshakable determination to create a world that has become a part of the lives of millions of people worldwide. Today, his legacy continues through Disney's influence in every corner of the world, from animated films and TV shows to world-renowned theme parks and beyond. So, the next time you watch Mickey Mouse or visit Disneyland, remember that behind it all is a man who never stopped dreaming, no matter how tough life was. What do you think about Walt Disney's journey? Have you ever experienced failure and needed some motivation to rise again? Feel free to share in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more inspiring stories. We'll see you next time.